Square Enix is in the process of selling Crystal Dynamics, Eidos Montreal, and Square Enix Montreal, as well as a ton of IP from their library, to the Embracer Group. This news comes by way of an official press release, which says the deal includes franchise licenses for Tomb Raider, Deus Ex, Thief, and Legacy of Kain, as well as more than 50 back catalog games from Square Enix's library. Overall, the acquisition includes 1,100 employees across 3 studios and 8 global locations, and it's currently estimated that the deal will close sometime next year between July and September for the total purchase price of $300 million cash money. If you're not familiar with the Embracer Group, they were formerly known as Nordic Games, which was founded in 2011. If you remember, they bought up a bunch of THQ when it went bankrupt around 2013, and then rebranded one of their publishing arms to THQ Nordic. That's not all though. An article by Kotaku kind of details the history of the Embracer Group as a company that's been buying up defunct game companies for a while now, and they've amassed a bit of an empire. As Kotaku puts it, the holding company went public in 2016, rebranded as Embracer in 2019, and now owns over 100 studios and publishers, housing over 10,000 employees, making it bigger than Activision Blizzard in terms of sheer body count. Basically, instead of the Activision and EA formula of trying to annualize a franchise or sell millions of copies of one very popular game, Embracer is making every kind of game under the sun, and then sometimes striking gold when one of them catches, like 2021's Viking survival game, Valheim. This particular strategy was referenced in the official press release earlier today, which reads, "Our approach is that quality comes first in games development, which is why we believe our decentralized operating model of empowering management teams while facilitating synergies positions Embracer for sustainable long-term success." Now that's a lot of corporate speak, but the mention of a decentralized operating model isn't necessarily an understatement, as trying to trace all the active Embracer Group games and studios is a complete spiderweb of mid-level and mobile publishers, each with their own variety of projects. The Kotaku piece I mentioned earlier provides a short list of recent Embracer Group acquisitions, and it really is a lot, even in just the last couple years. Probably the most notable one until now is the acquisition of Gearbox Software, creators of the Borderlands franchise, more recently Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, and publishers of indie games like Risk of Rain 2, Tribes of Midgard, and the in-development Hyperlight Breaker. Embracer also bought Aspyr, who mainly has been remastering and porting Star Wars games, Saber Interactive, known also for PC ports, Crysis remasters, and they're shipping an Evil Dead video game later this month. They also purchased 3D Realms, which obviously has historical relevance, but has been more recently publishing games like Ghost Runner and Ion Fury. Then there's the mobile publisher that they own, EasyBrain, as well as French board game company Asmodee, which publishes some of the most recognizable games in the space like Catan, Carcassonne, Pandemic, and Ticket to Ride. If that wasn't enough, Embracer also owns Dark Horse Comics. Making it even more complicated is their ownership of Koch Media, which includes Deep Silver, who's working on the Saints Row reboot, Dead Island 2, and reportedly bringing back Time Splitters, since Koch basically absorbed Crytek, who previously had absorbed Free Radical, you know, as it goes. And you can keep digging to find that Embracer Group owns all types of IPs now, many beloved, and they actually do kind of seem interested in revitalizing them. For example, they developed Darksiders 3 when, Darksiders 2 had previously not even broken even under THQ. So it's not entirely surprising Embracer Group would want to expand their library and add to its collection of franchises by buying up part of Square Enix. However, it does seem a little surprising that Square would want to sell off Tomb Raider, which is one of their most successful franchises developed in the West. On the other hand, Crystal Dynamics, in addition to making Tomb Raider, have also been working on Marvel's Avengers, which of course cost Square Enix millions of dollars and has had its own share of problems. Now, Square Enix is notorious for throwing their developers under the bus, exclaiming that particular titles have underperformed expectations, but Eidos Montreal sure surprised a lot of critics and players with Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, which initially showed very poorly, but reviewed very well, and even won Best Narrative at the Game Awards, as well as just being critically praised on lots of game sites and podcasts and that sort of thing. So even though the sales of Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy surpassed everyone else's expectations, they necessarily didn't surpass Square Enix's, so therefore they possibly see the game and even the studio that made it as kind of this sunken cost. Lastly, as mentioned in the official acquisition press release, there's Square Enix Montreal, which makes mobile games, specifically Hitman Go and Lara Croft Go, which are well regarded, but their latest release in 2021, Hitman Sniper: The Shadows, has only a 3-star rating on both Android and iOS, and there's no ports for it to other platforms like the previous games. So again, this is maybe Square Enix kind of just analyzing the cost of running these studios versus the output and what they expect. And as large game publishers strive to drive profitability up year over year, it makes sense that they might want to auction off parts of their company and then use that capital to invest more into the other studios or parts of the company that are performing better. So now maybe we see even more Final Fantasy or Dragon Quest or Kingdom Hearts projects, or perhaps Square Enix just dedicates more resources to those projects that are already in development. There is, of course, another explanation though. Some industry folks like GamesBeat and Giant Bomb's Jeff Grubb have speculated that shedding Crystal Dynamics, Eidos, and Square Enix Montreal leaves Square Enix far more streamlined for potential acquisition, which is a pretty hard idea to ignore, especially since there's been so much consolidation in the games industry as of late, and likely more on the way. All right, that's it for today. Let me know in the comments if you think someone's gonna try and scoop up Square Enix now, lock down Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest, and Kingdom Hearts is potentially a platform exclusive, or maybe this Embracer deal is just Square Enix cutting their losses. Let me know what you think in the comments. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video right here on Inside Gaming.